Hello and welcome to the first Public Information Center for the Havelock Wastewater Treatment Plant Schedule C Municipal Class Environmental Assessment, or Class EA study. My name is Renita Banerjee and I will be presenting on behalf of SEMA+, the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen, and the Ontario Clean Water Agency, also known as AQUA. SEMA+ was the consultant selected by the Township and AQUA to complete the Class EA study for this project. Public Information Center 1 for the study is being held to introduce the project, provide background information on the Havelock Wastewater Treatment Plant and the need for infrastructure upgrades, describe the Class EA study process and the steps taken to date and in the future phases of the project, answer any questions about the study, and provide an opportunity to get involved in the project. Before we begin, some housekeeping notes. This video will be available on the Township's website as of March 3rd, 2022. On the Township's website, there is a transcript of my narration of this presentation and a PDF copy of the slides. If you have any questions or comments, please send them to Amber Copeland from AQUA or Erin Longworth from SEMA+. Contact information for these project leads is in this presentation. Alternatively, you could fill out a comment form provided on the Township's website and submit it to the project team. So why are we here? The main objectives of this virtual Public Information Center are to provide an understanding of why the project is being undertaken, provide information on the Class EA decision-making process, the preliminary alternatives being considered, and the preliminary preferred solution for providing additional wastewater treatment capacity for the Village of Havelock. And finally, to provide an opportunity for the public to provide their input on the project. Public consultation and engagement are integral to municipal Class EA studies. We are holding this session to provide the public with opportunities to learn more about the municipal Class EA process being followed. Activities completed to date and a preliminary preferred solution will be presented at this session. As mentioned, background information, including this presentation, is available on the Township's website for your review. An online comment form is also available on the website for your use. We look forward to your feedback. The Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen has one wastewater treatment plant that receives wastewater from homes and businesses in the urban areas of the Village of Havelock and hauls septage from the rural areas within the township. The Havelock Wastewater Treatment Plant ensures that wastewater is fully treated before clean effluent is returned to Plato Creek. There are two main purposes of this study. First, in order to support population growth in the Village of Havelock up to the year 2041, additional wastewater servicing capacity needs to be planned for the Havelock system. The second purpose is to identify and recommend the preferred infrastructure improvements to accommodate the required capacity increase while minimizing impacts on the natural and socio-cultural environments, as well as considering technical and financial implications. More details will be provided regarding the wastewater treatment process and the population projections in the subsequent slides. A Schedule C Municipal Class EA follows the 5 main steps shown in the diagram. The first step involves reviewing background information and establishing the problem or opportunity statement. A notice of study commencement is issued at this stage. The notice of commencement for this project was issued to the project stakeholders in August of 2021. The next step involves brainstorming ways to address existing concerns, reviewing the study area, evaluating options that address the problem statement, and recommending the preliminary preferred solution. Information developed through this step is presented at the first Public Information Center, and input is sought from all of the public stakeholders to incorporate to the next stage of the project, which is what is being done today through this presentation. In the next stage, design concepts are developed to implement the preferred solution. Design concepts are evaluated based on their impacts and mitigation measures, and the results of this step, including the evaluation process and preliminary preferred design concept, are then presented at the second Public Information Center. This is currently planned for spring or summer of 2022. Once the preliminary preferred design concept has been confirmed via input from the public, a report called the Environmental Study Report is compiled to document the results of the EA. The report will be made available for public review for a minimum of 30 days. The study is anticipated to be completed in the summer or fall of 2022. Following the completion of the Class EA process and subsequent approval of the project implementation phase includes detailed design of the recommended design concept and construction. This is currently planned for 2023 to 2025. The Havelock Wastewater Treatment Plant is located at 719 Old Norwood Road. It services the Village of Havelock, shown as the shaded area in the figure to the right. The plant was built in 2009 and has a current rated capacity of 1,200 cubic meters per day. An overall study area, outlined in red, was identified at the beginning of the project to define the area on the existing treatment plant site for potential future infrastructure. The study area image shows the Havelock Wastewater Treatment Plant, marked in the yellow star, and two adjacent lagoons which previously provided wastewater treatment for the community. The lagoons were decommissioned when the new Havelock Wastewater Treatment Plant was built in 2009. The study area also includes the access road from Old Norwood Road leading up to the treatment facility. This slide provides an overview of the treatment processes utilized at the Havelock Wastewater Treatment Plant. Wastewater enters the facility through a raw sewage pumping station, which pumps the wastewater to the headworks building. A septage receiving facility is located adjacent to the pumping station, which receives wastewater in the form of hauled septage from the rural population in Havelock and transfers it to the pumping station. At the headworks building, the wastewater is passed through screen and grit removal processes before it can enter the main treatment process, which is the sequencing batch reactors, referred to as SBRs. SBR is a form of biological wastewater treatment which uses microbes to digest the wastewater. In this system, wastewater is added to a single batch reactor, treated to remove undesirable components, and then discharged to the next step. The process takes advantage of microorganisms that can digest organic matter in sewage and clump together by flocculation as they do so. It thereby produces a liquid that's relatively free of suspended solids and flocculated particles that can be readily settled out and removed. Reaction with microbes is facilitated by a fine bubble aeration system run by blowers. An equalization tank is located next to SBRs. The main purpose of this tank is to prevent short-term surges during high flow conditions. From here, the wastewater is transferred to the tertiary filters for further treatment. The tertiary filters employ sand filtration technology combined with chemical precipitation. A coagulant is added at this step to expedite the precipitation process and further remove solids from the wastewater. Filtered wastewater is treated for bacteria and viruses via ultraviolet reactors before the clean effluent is discharged to Plato Creek. The SBRs also contain sludge pumps, which transfer waste solids to a sludge digester to be stabilized. Processed sludge is pumped from the sludge digester to a biosolids holding tank, where it can be stored temporarily before being hauled away. In order to establish the needs for this project, it was important to understand the growth projections and associated wastewater design flows anticipated for the township. Planned growth was identified in the Havelock South development area, which includes 3 phases of residential homes, the Peterborough housing development, and the Havelock long-term care facility. Additional growth was also forecasted to approximately 2,400 people over a 20-year planning period to provide some flexibility to the township for future growth and wastewater treatment. The current rated capacity of the Havelock Wastewater Treatment Plant, 1,200 meter cube per day, is shown as a blue bar on the chart. The projected capacity required to accommodate the future population, 1,580 meter cube per day, is shown in orange. The red line in the middle of the chart represents the current average day flow of approximately 950 meter cube per day. Typically for water and wastewater systems, the need to initiate planning for upgrades or expansion is triggered when the treatment plant reaches 75 to 80% of the rated capacity, as is the case with the Havelock Wastewater Treatment Plant. The problem or opportunity statement is defined at the initial phase of the Class EA process based on the identified needs of the project. The three main driving factors for the study are population forecasts in terms of growth within the township to the year 2041. The Havelock Wastewater Treatment Plant, which services the community, is nearing its rated capacity and would not be able to accommodate the additional population. And need for long-term recommendations to meet future growth servicing requirements, maintain high treatment standards, and meet current best practices for wastewater treatment. Selecting the preferred solution follows the procedure required for Schedule C Municipal Class EA. The first step is to identify and screen alternative solutions. At this stage, a long list of potential solutions to the problem statement are developed. These are screened against must-meet criteria, which represent crucial requirements of the project. Must-meet criteria in this case are compliance, the ability of the alternative solution to meet the requirements of the future population in the year 2041, and technical feasibility, the ability of the alternative solution to maximize use of existing infrastructure in Havelock. Alternative solutions that did not satisfy the must-meet criteria were eliminated from further consideration because they did not meet the core requirements of the project. The screening results, described in more detail in slide 12, indicate that expand the existing Havelock wastewater treatment plant is the preliminary preferred alternative. This preliminary preferred alternative will be confirmed through input received from project stakeholders, including the public through this PIC, and carried forward for further consideration in the next phase of the study. The next step is to develop alternative design concepts to implement the preliminary preferred solution. These design concepts provide various options to execute the preferred solution. A set of detailed evaluation criteria are shown in the next slide, which are used to score each of the design concepts. The option with the highest score is recommended as the preferred design concept. The preferred design concept will be confirmed through public and stakeholder input at a second PIC. The chart on this slide shows the detailed evaluation criteria, which will be used to evaluate the alternative design concepts. The primary categories include sociocultural, natural environment, technical, and economic. The proposed weightings of each of the categories represent the relative importance of that category in the context of this project. For this project, all four categories have been weighed equally. However, this can be modified based on feedback from the PIC. Specific factors were considered within each of the four criteria categories. Factors related to socio-cultural criteria included health and safety, aesthetic and operational impacts such as visual impacts, odor and noise, construction impacts, public perception, land use, property acquisition, archaeological and cultural heritage considerations. Factors related to the natural environmental criteria included effluent receiving water body assessment, sensitive natural features and regulated areas, and climate change considerations. Factors related to technical criteria included operational complexity, ease of implementation, redundancy and flexibility, energy efficiency, constructability, and regulatory approvals. Finally, life cycle cost derived from capital, operation, and maintenance costs were considered as part of economic criteria. Impacts and mitigation measures will be evaluated for each alternative based on the evaluation criteria. The results of screening the long list of alternative solutions are shown on this slide. The 6 options that were considered include do nothing, limit community growth, reduce influent infiltration, also called I&I, expand the existing Havelock wastewater treatment plant, construct a new wastewater treatment plant on the existing site, construct a new wastewater treatment plant on a new site. Do nothing and limit community growth were eliminated because they did not meet the compliance criterion of meeting the servicing requirements for future population growth. Option 5 and 6, construct a new wastewater treatment plant, on or off-site, both require major new infrastructure and were eliminated because they did not meet the technical feasibility criterion of maximizing existing infrastructure. Option 3 involves reducing infiltration of stormwater into the wastewater collection system. Historically, high I&I has contributed to high influent flows at the Havelock Wastewater Treatment Plant. Control measures have already been implemented and are showing improvement in reducing extraneous flows to the sanitary sewer system. This option is not recommended as a standalone solution, but is recommended to be included as part of a preferred solution, whereby the township continues to implement the I&I control measures. Option 4, expand the existing Havelock Wastewater Treatment Plant, met the compliance and technical feasibility must-meet criteria, and is being recommended as the preliminary preferred servicing solution for this Class EA study. The next step in the Class EA process include the following. The first step is to conduct additional supporting studies to gather input for detailed evaluation. These studies include a detailed natural environment inventory, archaeological and cultural heritage assessments, and a receiving water assessment for Plato Creek. The receiving water assessment study will determine the acceptable maximum levels of nutrients and other parameters that can be safely discharged to the creek to protect human and aquatic health. The second step is to develop and evaluate the advantages and disadvantages of the design concepts. Alternative design concepts include, as a minimum, re-rate the plant capacity to achieve additional capacity with existing infrastructure, use one or both of the existing lagoons for flow equalization, and expand the mechanical plant using existing or new technologies. Further details regarding these design concepts will be developed and evaluated in the next project stages, and the preliminary preferred design concept will be presented at the second PIC for public and stakeholder input. Thank you for participating in this virtual Public Information Center for the Havelock Wastewater Treatment Plant Schedule C Municipal Class Environmental Assessment. Please submit any questions or comments that you may have by email or phone to Amber Copeland or Erin Longworth before April 21st, 2022. Amber Copeland is Aqua's Operations Manager and Project Manager. Amber can be reached by phone at 613-472-2131, extension 3, or via email at acopeland@aqua.com. Erin Longworth is the Consultant Class EA Lead with SEMA Plus. Erin can be reached by phone at 519-772-2299, extension 6250, or via email at erin.longworth@sema.ca. On behalf of the entire project team, thank you for your interest in this project and for participating in this Public Information Center.